So this is our new orphanage. It's as big as a castle.
Feel free to use the house as you see fit. Mrs. Mullins and I stay down here. Your rooms are upstairs. Locked, and it stays that way.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Grapevine. The Grapevine Gang is all here today, except for Andy. Andy's not in the building today because he didn't see the movie that we're doing. But this week we went and saw Annabelle. So if you haven't been here before, if you haven't checked us out, the basic gist of this podcast that we have here is a bunch of us go see a movie, one of us doesn't, and we do a review. We talk about the movie, talk about our likes and our dislikes, and the person that didn't see the movie at the end has to tell us whether or not they're going to go see it based on what we've talked about. Now, this week, I'm Matt Phillips. I'm joined by...
Josh.
Mariana.
Michael.
And Michael is the one that didn't get to see Annabelle
I did not
Creation. See it. All right. So, we're going to jump into this right off the bat. One of us has to kind of explain what the movie is about to Michael. Mariana, do you want to just do a quick little synopsis? Nothing that goes too in-depth, but just like, what's the movie about? What's Annabelle about?
So Annabelle Creation is basically a prequel of a prequel. It is a spin-off of the character Annabelle from the first Conjuring movie.
Character.
And, or object, which was then made into the movie called Annabelle, and Annabelle Creation is a prequel to that movie.
Of course.
So this is the origins of how the Annabelle doll came to become haunted, or at least, I don't know.
Not a normal
Evil.
doll.
Yes, not a normal doll. So the setting of this movie takes place in an orphanage home, which was given to the orphanage by this old man who lost his daughter. So in order to, do some good in the world, he allows these orphan girls to come in his house, and it's a huge house. He just stays on his own.
Okay.
So the main two girls are best friends. They want to get adopted together, and it's the story about, I guess, all the girls in the orphanage start to hear, like, they're like, oh no, maybe this house is haunted, obviously. And it's I guess the two main characters are those two little girls.
One of them ends up unearthing the doll and basically...
Yeah, one sits around the house, discovers the doll, haunting ensues.
Yeah, it's a classic, horror movie. We get into the house. Oh, it's kind of creepy. One person or one of the teenagers gets into a room, opens the door. Oh, that's where the ghost was hiding the whole time, and now he's free to kill everybody in the house. That's basically the movie.
Does the movie end with one of the little girl's souls trapped in the doll? Did I call it?
I don't want to spoil.
Almost? Okay.
Is that what happened? Does everyone know this? I don't know.
I guess
I don't even know.
I've just watched hundreds of horror movies.
Yeah,
so
it's okay. So you can lead the discussion.
So yeah, I really like horror. So I guess first question, was it scary? Was it scary?
In pretty much 99.9% of the time, I hate jump scares, because that is not fear, that is not tension building, that is just a loud noise that jolts you. Like, it makes you jump. I don't jump in jump scares, but that's
a type of fear.
No, because I'm not scared. Well, that's the thing. I'm not scared of them. I'm used to them, so I don't jump. If those don't make me jump, then it ruins the purpose. Anyways, but I do want to bring up James Wan, who did The Conjuring, because it's in the same universe. What James Wan does is he does do jump scares, but every time there's a jump scares, it's accompanied by an actual scary image. Yeah. And there is still tension building. And it's not just the jump scare that is the fear. There's tension building.
Yeah, the thing that causes the scare is actually something you're supposed to be scared of, not just a cat or something.
I feel like the reason why I bring this up is because I feel like this movie just tried to do that a bit, but there was not they didn't really succeed on the tension building. And every time there was a jump scare, it would be like loud violin, the music would cut out, and then the camera would pan and then you're just waiting in your seat. And I feel like, and even when there was the jump scare, sometimes it would be like the Annabelle doll just moving. And that's
not scary.
Maybe if it happened to you in real life, it would be scary. But like as watching it on screen without the sound, that's not really scary by itself. And I feel like it's not as bad as normal jump scares, which would be like somebody going boo. But I don't think it did that as well as James Wan did.
So it's the sort of halfway mark.
Yeah.
As a person that doesn't see a ton of horror movies, I would feel that I'm more susceptible to being scared by them because I'm not as used to the tropes and stuff like that. And even for me, this movie telegraphed every scare that was ever coming in the movie.
With violence.
Not just violence, just like, it's so obvious. Everything that, like, there's a point in the movie where, like, she's going up to, like, a well or something, and she's going to look in the dark well. And like, oh, what's going to happen? And like, something's going to come out of the well. And then something came out of the well. I was like, oh, okay, there you go. Like, it's not, like, everything that you expect to happen in this movie happens.
Okay. You guys talked a lot about, like, horror movie tropes. I think this movie had a lot of, like, the director, I don't really know his name, but I thought he was very good at taking all these classic horror movie tropes and realizing that we know those tropes and not giving a fuck. Like he just plays those tropes. Like he's not trying to do anything creative or anything, but I think where the movie falls short is he doesn't take that many risks with them. He doesn't like Mariana said, there's not that many payoffs with some of these jump scares. I'm not against jump scares, but there has to be something after the jump scare. It can't just be a calm moment after where nothing happens.
Yeah, where all the tension just is
and every
sucked out
time,
of the
that's
room.
okay, that can happen, but every time. Like, I think the first half of this movie was all that. I really enjoyed the second part where shit gets real, where one of the girls really gets attacked. Because you know, all these movies start off with the weakest link being targeted by the possession or whatever.
Way it should be.
And the way it should be. And it's not any different in this movie. This little girl who's a cripple gets targeted.
Oh, now you made me feel bad.
Yeah. She becomes even more of a cripple, and you're like, she's gonna get a break, but nah, there's a barn scene in this movie where it's just like, I was just screaming, no, fuck, what the hell, no. And that was the highlight of the movie for me. But other than that, this movie really didn't take any risks. It was I don't know. I think I should have liked it more, but I didn't.
Yeah.
So what I do think is the positive is the characters.
Okay, I was gonna ask
maybe not all the characters, but like I mentioned, those two main girls.
Yeah.
Which is Janice and
Cripple.
No, Janice is the one with the broken legs.
Okay. And not Cripple.
Janice
They're
and...
Is
it Linda?
Maybe? Okay,
Linda,
I'll just call her Linda.
Linda, okay.
For the sake of this. Okay. So from the beginning they're two best friends and they're like, they're not actual sisters, but they're saying we won't get adopted unless the other one's adopted with us. We want to be in the same home. And I really like their friendship. They're maybe like 12 years old.
Okay.
Maybe around that age. And
they're youngins.
Yeah. And I thought that, especially Janice's with the broken leg, I thought she was a great actress. I feel like the most important things in a horror movie is to make you scared and to leave a lasting effect. But I think what a lot of horror movies miss is you have to care that these characters are put in these scary situations, which I think that's where the movie succeeded, but it didn't deliver on the scares. So you cared that they were put in those situations, and you're like, oh, I actually like her. Her character was being built.
Sort of a flip on what normal horror movies are.
Were there any scares you guys found
not
scary?
One.
Not even the barn scene where she gets pushed into it and
no.
That scene did not.
I've seen things like, maybe not in the barn specifically, but like I've seen too many jump scares. I've seen people being dragged. Horror's my favorite genre, so I've seen every single trope.
I've seen a lot of horror movies too, but I don't know. I thought there was going to be a break there, and there wasn't a break, and fuck, it just happens.
Yeah.
I was just floored.
But yeah, like I said, where most horror movies fail is that you don't care about the characters. So you're like, if somebody's being haunted, it's like, okay, I don't really care. Yeah. But in this one, it's like, oh no, not her, especially the weakest link. She was actually really nice, and I think she had the most character, at least the most you knew about her. But I don't think they delivered on the scares, and it dragged a little too long. It was like almost 2 hours. And
that's long for horror, yeah.
And like Yash said, the first half was not as good. It was a lot of jump scares. It was a lot of building up with not a lot of payoff. And again, all the build up was filled with jump scares that didn't have much tension, and everything was expected. But yeah, and I just thought this movie was okay.
Yeah.
I feel the fact that the one girl was crippled and they kept on picking on her was just a way to make me feel bad for her, because I didn't care about her otherwise. I was like, oh, she's crippled, I feel bad for her. And like that's the only reason I feel bad for her. I don't really care about any...
But I like the relationship with the other girl too.
I mean, enough. It's fine. It's like, I don't know. Horror movies aren't really my thing, obviously. So like, I need to be really pulled in to one for me to like actually care. And I don't know, just watching it, I wasn't scared for most of it. And I found the characters to be very thin for me. And that they were preying upon, like, oh, people will feel bad for her getting hurt because she's already in a wheelchair, like, or crippled or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, but that's just cheap. Now you're cheating to get my sympathy. Because I should care regardless.
What did you say? People feeling bad for her are getting hurt?
No, feel bad for her getting hurt because she's already crippled.
Okay.
Like, that's what they're preying on. They're being like, you're going to care a lot when she gets, like, thrown around and stuff happens to her because she's already crippled. And I'm like, yeah, but I should care about it just because she's a person. And, like, she's a well-fleshed-out character. I feel bad for things happening to a person.
I do agree with what you're saying, but I think her performance really sold it. Is that when she was really in pain and she was really sad,
I felt it.
It like I think she was a really good actress.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't agree?
I just don't care about kids.
I have noticed that about
you. No, yeah, I think her character was pretty flat, but it was again like maybe her acting just really sold it.
Especially when it comes to child actors, you notice when they're bad. So if it's even...
A lot of times you don't notice when they're good, but you notice when they're bad.
And I'll give that child actress in this one thing. She's better than the one in Wonder Woman.
One thing I really like about this... The cripple cat. I keep calling her the cripple
cat. It's really not all right.
Janice.
I hope I was in this. So
she has this type of curiosity that's some... like. In other movies where kids are fucking stupid and curious about something dangerous, you're just like, oh, I hate you. Why are you doing this? But in this, like, I really get it. She can't go outside to play with the kids, so she's stuck in this house and she has to explore this haunted house. And she finds this toy room, and it's not like, oh, what are you doing? It's like all she has. She's just exploring. Like, let her explore. Yeah. And so I really like she I don't know. She even has this face where she's just like, it's just innocent curiosity, and then it's genuine fear when that curiosity turns into Annabelle.
Well, then I guess that leads us into a little bit more of plot points. How is the plot here? I imagine it's one of the weaker things, but is there any sort of plot lines or aspects of it that stand out for you?
I feel like any more delving into the plot is like far into the movie and would be
so it really doesn't get going until...
No, like most of the plot, again, like I said, it's a lot of setup. And it's just exploring the house, things are happening. It's typical haunted house movie with a doll thrown in.
Yeah, but with a lot of these horror movies, the big reveal, like who's Valak and all that stuff comes at the end. And the plot of this movie is just...
a haunted house.
It's a haunted house movie. It's these girls trying to find a home where there's a weird guy who's being nice to them. We don't know why, and he has this other weird thing locked in 2 different rooms, and it's just a haunted house movie.
Complicated.
Yeah, it's complicated.
Does that have? Are you satisfied with the reveal of what's in those 2 different rooms?
Yeah, I was.
You were?
Yeah.
Matt's shrugging.
Well, one of them, you know what's there.
Yeah, I don't know. This movie just didn't connect with me. I gotta be honest with you. It's kind of that horror isn't my thing, and it's just like so many kid actors, and then the doll being the inanimate object, just doing these things to people, and like, it's just preyed on a lot of things that I don't care about in movies, to be honest with you.
My biggest gripe with this, other than the jump scares, was, especially in horror movies and supernatural things, if a movie, it's one thing if supernatural things are happening and you don't really quite get it, but the thing is this movie set up rules and ways to lock the demons or ghosts, and then they set up like multiple rules, and then they break all of them, and they just don't.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
The room with the Bible scripture.
Okay.
And the whole doll thing, and the fact that it needed to possess the doll, but it can still possess other people and go out. That I won't go into specifics, but it did set up and show you all these rules, and then it just ignores them.
Interesting.
And I feel like that's like a huge, like it didn't make really much sense. And Annabelle was just. I don't know.
We're gonna get into the lore of things now. Here's what I think. Like, she's upset with you. If you've seen Conjuring,
of course,
then you know how it is. Like in those movies, the devil needs permission. Well, they say the devil needs permission to enter these things. I don't think he needs permission. I think he does that as a way of getting the owners of that thing like into accepting it and then crushing them after. Like, I don't really think the devil needs permission to go into this doll. It's just giving the parents that hope of like, oh,
interesting,
this,
yeah.
And you know,
this is just speculation because the movie tells you something otherwise.
True enough, yeah. Sometimes, yeah.
Okay, what
that happens?
Okay.
Well, I mean, I guess give me your favorite thing, give me your least favorite thing, and then let's wrap it up.
Okay, my favorite thing. I guess my favorite thing was, even though I thought that it was cheap in the way that it was trying to ploy on you because of the fact that Janice is physically handicapped already, I don't know why, I just found it not amusing, but just like every time they did stuff to her, I was like, I can't believe they keep on doing this to her. Yeah. All these things. Like, I felt bad at the same time. At a certain point, it crossed into comedy for me, where I was like, this is ridiculous. Leave this girl alone.
They're kids, though. Kids don't really have empathy.
I was like, gosh, this is ridiculous. And I found that stuff cool. And I thought all the stuff with the original girl, like the way the kind of the plot of the movie, I guess, is just a little plot point, is they allow the devil to go into the doll because of the fact that their daughter died. And the devil, or the demon, or whatever it is, says that it's their daughter. I found the parents dealing with that grief and the way that the daughter died early in the movie and all that stuff, I was a little bit connected to that. I was like, oh, this is interesting. And like they do a good job of kind of setting up the relationship that daughter had with those parents. That was actually the best stuff in the movie for me. Like, she would leave them little notes all over the place. It was like, I'm hiding, Dad, come find me, or whatever. And I thought that she's weird, but it was like, I get it. They live on this like farm out there and doing these things. I get it. It's interesting. I found that stuff cool. As far as stuff I didn't like, I mean, honestly, it's just the whole doll thing. It was just, it's not my thing. I don't. Yeah. I want, if I'm just gonna do a horror movie, I want something that can.
It's more
that
visceral.
Feels more visceral and real. And the doll thing, I just laugh at it because I'm like, yes, it's a doll. It's a doll. I don't care. I don't know. That's just me though.
Interesting.
Okay. I think I already said like some of the things that I like about this movie, so I'll go into the thing that ruined this movie for me, which is at the very end. I'm not gonna go too much into it because it is spoilery, but basically at the end they dedicate 5 to 10 minutes to basically setting up a world.
Oh, it's this Conjuring. Sort of.
Because it's a universe now.
Yeah. It's like an epilogue.
It's like an epilogue, and I think they use like a scene from one of the like Annabelle. I haven't seen Annabelle, but and it's just like why do you need to do this? Like, just
it's
leave
true.
the movie.
It's kind of this thing. It's like what happened at the end of Rogue One, where they have to make it like tied directly into this next Star Wars movie. I was like, okay, I didn't need that much.
The movie has so many good things going for it. Why can't they explore that? Like, and it's this thing where they want to make but I don't see, even if they're trying to make a universe, I don't think they need to like spoon feed you a universe. I think it's okay by just just giving hints
just
and
little tidbits here and there.
Just little tidbits.
Just let them
like, I'm even fine with like a short after the credits. Okay, I'm gonna spoil the after credit scene for you because it really doesn't have anything to do with the movie. I didn't see the after credit scene, but I was described it by my friend, and it's just like this like 5-second clip of this cathedral and the nun from Conjuring 2 is just like walking, and that's enough for me to like be like, okay, there's another one. I don't see why you need to freaking dedicate
a part of the actual movie.
The part of the actual movie to just reiterate everything and connect, and like we're kids.
Especially during the third act from the sound of it. Yeah.
And that just killed it. I just didn't like the movie. I just walked out like, oh, this is one of those.
Okay. Like I said, I didn't think the jump scares were effective, or the horror in general, even outside of the actual effects of them. I think I didn't like how they set up rules and just didn't stick with them.
That's a big thing in horror movies. Yeah, if you set up rules in a fictional sort of horror universe, you want to follow.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm fine with it not being like the same, but if you're planning to dedicate part of your plot to that and then go against it kind of gripes me. And the positive, I'd say, again, is Janice and the actress herself. And her relationship with her friend.
Is that the one from Ouija?
No, that's the friend.
That's the other friend, okay.
Yes. I thought she was just okay in this one.
I thought she was.
And there was a moment where she had a scared face, and it was like a bit bad.
Okay.
But yeah, I thought she was much better in Ouija Origins, and in this one she was just fine. But it was mostly Janice that was the best actress. But more importantly than my positives or negatives of this movie, my warning to you is if you do watch it in theaters, make sure you watch it on a matinee where there are no children or teenagers. Yes. Because
I think you lucked out.
Yeah, because this was my second time watching it, because the first time I had to walk out of the first 10 minutes because every teenager was on their phone and yelling when there wasn't even actual scares. And they would just, as soon as they would yell, they would go like, oh my god, did you believe that just happened? Oh my god, that's so gross. And then they would just like talk, that wasn't even scary for me. How are you jumping? And I'm like, I do not need to hear every single reaction and then your comments about your friend's reaction during the movie of the first 10 minutes when there's no actual scares. So, watch it. VIP screenings, which is 19 plus only. That would be the best if you do watch it in theaters. That is my warning to you. Because the second time I watched it, that's what I did. I went to 19 plus VIP screening.
If you see a kid Snapchatting, break his phone.
You tell them there's only two places where you're allowed to talk during movies, and it's basically any movie with sassy black ladies in it. Yes, talk to your heart's content. It's a fun movie. Let's have a good time. Or any Tyler Perry movie. Any Tyler Perry movie. Go ahead, talk it. We don't care about the plot. It's all about just being wacky and fun.
Or a Marlon Wayans movie.
Yeah, that's part of the experience, is the crowd experience. Otherwise, shut your damn mouth.
I think horror has a place in like crowd.
No, not teenagers.
It's hard
because that's the thing. In comedies, it always elevates it when people are laughing, and same thing in horror. It's kind of like fun to watch other people like be scared.
Sure,
but when it's full out conversations
talking about
when it's full out conversations and their phones are out, that is not theater participation. And that's the thing, is that I think theaters have become less about theater participation and more about like socializing with your friends during the movie.
Yeah.
So
I guess we can use that all as our final thoughts.
Yeah.
She covers it there.
Sounds
like yours, Michael.
My final thoughts are youths are bad. So I want to see this film. I don't know if I'm going to do it in theaters. Not just because of the horrible youths, but it sounds like a good Netflix watch, a good, at home on demand watch. So I think that's what I'm saying. I'm going to wait for on demand for this one.
Yeah, there's nothing really theatrical.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
It might actually be even better, just like alone in like a dark room in my house.
And again, if you hear other people talking, you're less inclined to jump at a jump scare. So if that's your thing, it's better to jump at, like in a dark room alone, and you hear a loud noise, you'll jump.
Yeah.
Which I don't.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. So that's the review for Annabelle Creation. It's time to sign off, I guess. I'm Matt.
We're journalists. I'm Yash.
Mariana.
I'm Michael.
And join us again next time on The Grapevine.